G'day, I'm Alan Carrington, and I know this is very impromptu. I only gave you about half an hour's notice. It could be spontaneous, of course, but I thought there might be some people here in the community that might be interested in having a look at how I set up Stream Deck. I found Stream Deck to be an incredibly valuable tool or weapon in the arsenal on how to manage my workflow in live streaming. You probably, for those who know me and have watched my posts, they have you pretty well identified that I'm in fact a teacher, and I am focused on educational live streaming. So I've been on a vertical learning curve like a lot of you, and I have been working really hard to try to master workflows and professionalism in the context of education. I spend a lot of time on how to develop slides and interesting learning styles and so on. And I'm now ready to start to produce live modules. We can pre-record, of course, but and of course when we come to live modules, it's a really high pressure situation when it comes to when you want to move around and use different apps and so on. So Stream Deck is where I found my answers, and we're going to go live. I'm going to count down. This is another point for another discussion, actually. How long do you have a countdown for? Why sit there for 5 minutes? Is there reasons to do that? Share with them. If you're watching, if there's anybody watching, please let me know and say hello and tell me where you are. I'm in the bottom of the world, and it's 11 o'clock a.m. Monday. Love to say hello, but also if you Tony said hi. Did you know your head is cut off watching on my iPhone? That's a good point, Tony. We could, yeah, that's an interesting point. How about that? Is that better? Yeah. Now that's going to change a little bit when my next slide. But thank you very much, Tony, for the feedback on that. I'm always sort of gearing myself up to do live streaming on computers, but let's see where we go. But back to this countdown question, guys. If there's anybody there that can tell me the rational reason for why that you want to do the 5 minute timer, I'm really interested in that. I'm got 1 minute. And it's now that I've moved this image, I'm going to find it very interesting. So what we're going to do, we'll go live timing. We'll time down, and I'll get rid of my. Oh, there you go. I'm not sure what the J is for. But no, I call you Israel. It's good to talk to you. That's a good point, and I wasn't. I'd love to dig deeper into these things, but I'm here to talk about the Stream Deck. But is it for a entertainment factor? That's a good point, and I could come back to that. Might talk to you later about that one. Um, let's talk about. First of all, let me tell you who I am quickly. For those who know me, that they would know that I'm a Clayton's academic. Now, I better tell you what Clayton's is about. Clayton's is a company that produces a non-alcoholic drink, and it entered the Australian culture many, many years ago, and it sort of said, with an ad that said, the drink you have, the beer you have when you're not having a beer. Okay, so we refer to Clayton's academics or Clayton's anything as being the academic you are when you're not having an academic. It's a bit of a joke, but I'm not an academic, but I am a learning designer. I have been pretty strongly awarded throughout Australia. I have a background in printing, publishing and web development and educational multimedia. Been to a lot of countries and taught communications and market research, etc. And my passion is online education. But let's get down to the whole question about this Stream Deck. You're actually looking at the Stream Deck as it's showing up right now, and I can drive this from my deck, and I can drive it from the software itself. So this is actually my default profile. And what it is, if you can look at it, I'll just pull it, I'll get it to the front, it might be the best. When you're looking at this, this button here opens my Ecamm software and my profile. If you don't know about multifunctions, I suggest you strongly learn them. But what else is I find absolutely fascinating, has been absolutely invaluable to me, is this whole question of switching things on and switching things off using IFTTT. It is, I think, if that, then this. And I have a tutorial on that. And so when I press that button there, is that right, Tony? University of YouTube. Pretty close. The University of the Adelaide was really my primary workplace for the last 10 years. What I would like to talk about is this whole question of studio lights. When I turn on those everything comes on, and it's quite wonderful. I can turn it all on, turn it all off, and so I have Elgato lights, and you should see a significant drop in my lighting when I press that button. And I can press it, the left one's on, and then the right one's on, and I can control all the temperature, and the brightness. Down the bottom, which I'm not going to play with, are all my whole system. So I can turn mixers on, lights off, etc. So that part there I find extremely helpful. The next thing down is of course Ecamm, and but I also have Keynote and Zoom. This is very interesting too. This is a whole world clock thing. I've been travelling internationally for 20 years. I've got a learning module which I'm about to produce lives on, and it's all about learning theory, and it's been translated into 20 plus languages. So I use that a lot, and that's when I can tell immediately. All it does is pull off the server the time in the zone, and it's really, really helpful. Excuse me. So that's the world clock part of it. There's a Zoom profile, which is for buttons in Zoom. There's a studio folder. But I wanted to talk, of course, more about Ecamm. Now, I don't know how you use Ecamm, and I've got to train myself to look at the questions or the comments that are coming. What I've learned with Ecamm is the initial. I'm a heavy user of scenes, and I strongly recommend that you use scenes if you're not doing it. And again, it depends upon what you use your Ecamm for. And for education purposes, I'm really into scenes. And so I have another profile. I set a separate profile up for all my scenes. And this is what it looks like, okay? And each one of those scenes, if I press the button, it will take me to the relevant scene. Now, that's not what today's all about, all those scenes. That's from my module coming up sometime in the next couple of days. But that enables me to jump around and, I'll give it a go. Let's see what happens with this one. I don't want to use... okay, now that one there is all about... It's not all that important. But the truth of the matter is it's a very significant problem in education, and I'll get back into that model. But you can see that I can actually change buttons, go directly to scenes, and I can jump back to the scenes. And so that gives me complete control. And so I can then come back upwards, and I can use the windows, of course, and I'll get back to where I was. And okay, so that's how it works. I have the scenes in here, and I can take it back up. One of the advantages that took me a little while to work out was that if you set up all your scenes in a profile and not in a folder, you can go into your excuse me, your software, and it's a little bit over, isn't it? Maybe we can bring it. Would that bring it over? No, it's too much to the side. Let me go out a bit. I've got to unlock my scene, and we'll go out a bit. Okay, now come back into here. When you come down into the up here on this drop-down window, you'll see there's Edit Profiles, and if you hit the Edit Profile button, you'll find down there you can add and subtract profiles. And over here on this drop-down window again, you can drop that down, and you can see that you can duplicate, rename, and copy to things. And the most important thing that you can do is export and backup. Now, if you go to that will back up completely. You can create a complete backup of all your settings in Stream Deck. And as soon as you finish a project, back up, right? But one of the advantages of setting all my windows or all my slides and scenes up in one profile is I can come up here to my project here. Sorry, it's a bit slow. I can click on that one, and that is all my scenes, and I can then go into here. Oh, come on. I can go into here and export that as a file, and so that I can then pull back just at project by project. So that's how I manage profiles and all the important assets. You've got to also make sure all your digital assets are in the same folder for so you can find them again, because sometimes they break the video connect, and you can quickly go and rehook it up again. So I hope that's been interesting to anybody. Has anybody got any questions? How many have we got? Okay. There's only 4 watching. That's okay. It was very short notice. Anybody got any questions they want to ask? All right. Well, I'm going to show you if you want to contact me, then that's my Twitter. That's my WeChat. I spend a lot of time in WeChat, and my email. That's one of my emails, and you can contact me. The other interesting thing for that, by the way, is up there in the corner there where it's got, try that one, Al, up there in the corner, the Scan Me, which is a QR code. If you point your iPhone or your Android camera to that QR code, it'll ask you to take you to a location and a web page. So you might find that interesting. I use QR codes extensively in my presentations and my webinars, etc., because it's a way to link video so that people can use devices to go there. If you're watching on the phone, then you can also just do a quick screenshot, and then it will you can point a QR reader to it later, and there's free ones online. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it all, and remember, please follow me on Facebook.